Good evening. Today is Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026 at 7 p.m. I now call the Fairfield Township Board of Trustees regular meeting to order. Ms. Lipinski, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Birding.
Present.
Trustee Harkemaier. Here. Trustee McAbey.
Here.
At this time, I move to appoint Kim Lipinski as the clerk pro tem. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Ms. Lipinski, will you call the roll?
Trustee Birding.
Yes?
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes.
Trustee McAbey.
Yes.
That motion passes. Can we all please stand for the pledge? And Trustee McAbey, could you please lead us? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Trustee McAbey. First item on our agenda is to have public hearings. So at this point, I move to open our public hearing for our permissive motor vehicle license. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Ms. Lipinski, will you call the roll?
Trustee Birding.
Yes?
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes.
Trustee McAbey.
Yes.
Okay, the public hearing is open. And Ms. Lipinski, you have a presentation for us?
Yes. Okay. Tonight, we are here to talk about two proposed $5 permissive motor vehicle license fees, which would make a total of $10, which is new for Fairfield Township. So I'll go into, I'll explain our current funding challenges, outline how additional funds would be used, and then we're also here to gather community feedback on this. So how roads are actually funded. So for townships, the current funding sources are through road and bridge property taxes, which is our 2031 fund, our motor vehicle license tax, which is what you guys pay or we all pay when we go to register our motor vehicle at the BMV, and it's a certain dollar amount. I don't know if it's $1.30 of that money that we get, but it's also based on road mileage. So we also receive gas tax, which we all pay at the pump, and we get a certain percentage of that based on road mileage. And then we also have county permissive motor vehicle license tax. So you pay a $5 fee for your motor vehicle license, and the county collects it, and then the county gives us 30% of that money that's collected. So we also have residential incentive districts for revenues. For this mostly pays for paving, but all of these funds together are not enough to cover our long-term infrastructure needs. So what gives us the legal authority to do it is under Ohio Revised Code, section 4504.181, which allows townships to levy 2 additional $5 license plate fees per registered vehicle. This applies to the unincorporated areas only, and Fairfield Township does not currently collect this tax. So in 2025, our permissive motor vehicle license tax revenue was $77,390.44, which again is that 30% share of the county's $15 license plate fee. Our proposed township $5 fees times 2, we would collect about $225,200 annually. Fairfield Township would retain 100% of this new tax. The revenue per vehicle would rise from $4.50 that you currently pay now to $14.50. Here you can see our budget shortfalls. So in 2026, we estimate to take in $1.4 million and to spend $1.2, which gives us roughly $200 in the black. And then, as you can see, going in from 2027 all the way down through 2031, the deficit just continues to grow from 211,000 all the way up to 483,000. So this assumes like a 1% increase in revenue with a 5 to 8 and sometimes 10% increase in our cost. Just basically, it's the cost of doing business. We have to pay utilities just like everybody else, and they unfortunately keep getting higher. Our township infrastructure snapshot, so we roughly maintain 81 miles of roadway that is not on a regular schedule for maintenance. We have the third largest road inventory in Butler County. We have deferred paving and stormwater projects, and we have significant curb and gutter deterioration that's throughout the township. How the funds can be used and will be used. So flexible capital uses would include asphalt, salt, gravel, cold patch, curb and gutter replacement, storm pipe and jetting systems, road signs, landscaping, utilities, public works tools, equipment, and vehicles, and then obviously contracted services, which is our paving and repairs. What this means for the public, if enacted, the two $5 license plate fees per vehicle in the unincorporated areas would be added during the annual vehicle registration. The total cost per vehicle would be $14.50, but like I said earlier, all of the money that's collected would actually stay in the township. It does not get shared with anyone. I think the state might take a small fee for that, but mostly all of the money stays in the township. The community benefits from doing such a thing would be safer and smoother roads for the public, would be faster stormwater response, we would be able to replace aging infrastructure, we would be reducing long-term repair costs, because the longer we wait to repair things, the more expensive it is the next year to repair it, which means better quality of life and property values for all of the residents. So, this is a time for public input, so we would like to, hear your feedback on this. Do you support the initiative? Do you have any road and stormwater concerns or suggestions for priority projects? That's all I have.
Okay, is there anybody from the public that wants to come up to the microphone and state concerns or input about this item? Okay, I'm hearing none. Any comments from the trustees?
Oh, the presentation answered all my questions. And I know last year, we talked about this in July or June of last year, and now we have a whole lot more information as far as what we think we will collect, and it'll help us for at least a certain period of time.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Trustee Hockenmeyer, any comments?
I like what Trustee McAbey had to say about that.
Yeah, definitely. Last year, we were kind of like going blind, and the range was from it would create like $23,000 or something like that. It was a very low amount, and so I'm glad we waited to get more information. So I think this is something that we could do to help our roads, our infrastructure. It kind of struck me that we were the third largest inventory in the county. Is that of non-cities, or is that?
Right, it's townships.
Townships,
Yeah.
okay. But still, I mean, you have large townships in the area, so, okay. So the next steps would be to have another public hearing, give residents another opportunity to give us feedback, and then the trustees would vote up or down on this, and then it would go to the state.
Yeah, so if we approve it, we have a public hearing, or we will schedule a public hearing for Friday. And if you guys decide to approve it, then yes, we would file all the paperwork to the Ohio Department of Transportation and the state tax office. And then it would go into effect January 1st of 2027.
Okay. So anybody renewing their license plates starting January 1st?
Yes.
So if they renewed it in December, that it's due in January, they would avoid for 1 year
Right.
that $10.
Or 2 years or 5 years.
Yeah, or depending on how many years they renew it for,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, okay.
Motion to adjourn the public hearing?
Okay, second. Any comments or questions? Ms. LaPenzi, will you call the roll?
Trustee McAbey?
Yes.
Trustee Birding?
Yes.
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
All right, we close the public hearing for the license, the permissive motor vehicle license at 7:10 p.m. At this time, I move to open the public hearing for the fiscal year 2027 tax budget. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. LaPenzi, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee McAbey?
Yes.
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
Trustee Birding?
Yes. Okay, now we open the public hearing for the fiscal year's tax budget.
Okay. So, we put together the 2027 tax budget, we made certain assumptions. So, as I alluded to earlier, with revenue growth, we only estimated it to grow about 1%, and that's because levy amounts rarely change. You get a little bit of new construction value from it, but you really don't get that much, and that's the whole point of a levy, is it stays flat. So if you instituted or voted in 2000, it stays completely flat the whole way through. You don't really get any extra money. So you might get a little. However, on the expenditure side, the growth projected is between 5% and 10%, depending on the line item in the budget. So, and this is caused by the rising costs between wages, benefits, insurance, and just the cost of utilities. So in the general fund, we project revenues at $1,646,422.21. We propose expenditures in the amount of $1,909,267.25. The expenditures have been reduced 66% due to transfers that we made at the beginning of the year. We made $4 million in transfers between the police, fire, and the Public Works Department. So really, we have an underlying increase of only 17%, but really the reason for the 17% is because we also included a dump truck replacement in the general fund because we're using TIF money to pay for other items, as I mentioned there. In the fire department, for their budget, it's $8.46 million, which is an increase of $1.6 million or 23%. This would include station renovations and repairs, turnout gear, vehicle, and future tower replacement. So you can see the revenues across the board. In the fire department, we use multiple funds to fund their operation. So you can see in the fire fund, the revenues are projected at $6,027,955. On the expenditure side, it's $5,585,681. So we have a positive of carryover of $442,274. In the fire rescue fund, this is our EMS billing that we get. We project that we will get $954,450, and we'll spend the same in expenditures, so it'll be a zero across the board for a variance. And the safety services levy, we split the levy, so the fire department would get $875,000, and same on the expenditure side. And they would be also using TIF money to pay for the station renovations and repairs and the turnout gear, vehicle, and the future tower replacement. So you can see the totals there, $8.3 million for revenues, $7.9 million for expenditures, which gives us a positive $436,654. On the police department, the 2027 proposed budget would be $4.05 million, which is a decrease of 19%. This already reflects the loss of 3 positions, so that we are experiencing right now today. Without the levy, we would have to reduce staffing even more, probably 2 more positions. But that we can make that final decision at the end of the year when that comes. So the police department is funded in multiple funds across the board too. So for the police department, they get, in their police fund, the 2081 fund, we get revenues of $2.3 million. The expenditures would be $2.4 million, so we have a negative balance of $161,475. We also have carryover in that too, so I don't want you to think we're going into the red. It's just we also have money that we carried over from last year. We also have safety services levy money, so we're proposing to do $810,000 in revenues, $820,000 in expenditures for a difference of $10,100. In the JED for Hamilton, we're proposing $700,000 in revenue and $750,000 in expenditures, so it's a difference of $50,000. In the other TIF, the TIFs in the other JED that we have with Fairfield, We're projecting revenues of $235,000, expenditures for $235,000, and this would account for tools and equipment and motor vehicles that we may or may not have to replace. So you can see the total revenues would be $3.8 million, the expenditures would be $4 million, and we have a variance of $221,000. Under the Public Works Department, for the 2027 budget, it would be $1.53 million, which is an increase of 7%. We're asking for an increase in the paving budget from $375,000 from last year to $550,000, which is out of the RID. This would help address a backlog of paving and some other rising costs. So you can see, as we talked about before, all the different ways that we fund public works, which is mainly through road and bridge, which is a property tax levy that we get, which is inside millage. So on the revenue side, it would be $599,828.90. On the expenditures, we're proposing $774,045.60, which we can see as a deficit of $174,216, which we also have carryover in the public works, or in the road and bridge fund for that to cover it. In the motor vehicle license tax fund, we're proposing $40,804 for revenue. And on the expenditure side, $42,420, which is a negative variance of $1,616. And the gas tax fund, we're proposing revenue of $379,462.05, and expenditures, $394,490.25. So it's a variance of $15,000. Under permissive motor vehicle, the revenue would be $75,487.40. On the expenditure side, it would be $96,558, which is a variance of $21,070. So you can see the totals. The revenue is about little less than 1.1 million. On the expenditure side, it's 1.3 million, which gives us the deficit of $211,931.50. And then we just went into the public works funding sources. We talked about the permissive motor vehicle license tax, and then you can see more of the deficits in public works. So actions already implemented. We talked about this last year. So last year we talked about the need for a fire levy, a police levy, and a motor vehicle license tax. We successfully passed the fire levy this past May. We would like to put the police levy back on for the November ballot. That's on our agenda tonight to discuss in further detail. We had our first public hearing for the proposed motor vehicle license fee. We'll have a second public hearing, and then we'll have to have that on the agenda to talk about. And then we've been actively trying to sell the properties that we have on Gilmore and on Taylorsville Road. We currently have one property under contract, and hopefully that sale will go through. Cost reduction measures, we've eliminated all unnecessary contracted services. We've reduced our health insurance costs by 11%. We've reduced special event spending. We will eliminate cell phone allowances, and we will reduce other benefits. Under personnel policy changes, we will reduce overtime call-out minimums. We'll eliminate double holiday overtime. We will limit vacation payouts and sick leave payouts. And there's our total budget. Read that because it's way too small. So funds that I didn't talk about. We talked about the general, motor vehicle, gas, road and bridge, police, fire, safety services, lighting district. We're proposing to bring in $195,700 and spend $203,700. In the TIFs, so we have multiple TIFs. We have 4 TIFs. So for the TIF for Story Point, we are projecting revenue $311,130.50, with expenditures totaling $577,783.13. In the Princeton Road TIF, we are proposing revenues totaling $2.8 million, so $2,820,576.50, with expenditures totaling $2,192,000. In the TIF for Seward Road, we're projecting revenues totaling $1,520,50, and expenditures for $1,508,200. In the One Ohio, which is our opioid money that we get, we're projecting revenues and totaling $65,650 and expenditures totaling $86,800. In the Bridgewater TIF, we're proposing $40,804 in revenue and $39,390 in expenditures. So in the RID that we also talked about earlier, we talked about revenue totaling $331,532.50, with expenditures totaling $550,000. So with all that said, the projected revenues for the whole year would be $19,899,728.38, and the expenditures would be $19,900,000 or $900,542.55, so we're very close to balancing, which would leave us a carryover balance of $13,617,430.69. So I know there's a lot of stuff to digest, but does anybody have any questions?
Questions from the board?
So can you just outline what the capital expenditures would be for next year?
Capital expenditures would be, in the fire department, we talked about the fire station renovations. So it totals about $2.8 million. And then a tower replacement, so towers run anywhere from 1.8 to 2.2, $2.3 million.
When you say towers, you don't mean a tower, you mean the truck?
Yes. The very large truck with the bucket on the, well, some of them have buckets on the.
Ladder truck,
Ladder truck, but a very large ladder truck.
right.
So.
Not a cell tower or a,
No. So those we have to save for. So those, obviously they cost around $2 million. So we would probably have to save for that for a couple years. So if we budget $1 million each year to save towards that and put it in our appropriations, I think that's the only way we would be able to afford it unless we financed it. And then they also need turnout gear and a vehicle that they've got in their replacement schedule. And then on the public works side, there is a dump truck that's been budgeted, in their cycle of replacement. And then obviously I put money in there for the police because inevitably we're probably going to need vehicles. We range in anywhere from age from 2017 to 2025 vehicles. So the oldest vehicles being 2017, which is pretty old for a police vehicle. So inevitably somebody will, crash one, we'll get crashed into, so we'll have to replace that. Also, next year is our sidewalk project. So the sidewalk project the Safe Routes to School, so that's also figured in there. I budgeted about $750,000 for that. And then I also budgeted money for us if we borrowed money for the fire station renovations. There's money budgeted in there for the next 4 to 5 years to pay all that back. That's it in a nutshell.
and I've told you, I'm not in favor of any capital improvements until we make some substantial changes to our bottom line. So just saying that for the record.
Trustee Harkemaier, any comments?
If I'm reading this correctly, will our general fund balance at the end of 2027 be about $4.4 million?
At the end of 2027?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I'll have to check that, because I have something else.
Well, I have it on this document here.
Yeah, it's probably right on that sheet.
Okay.
I probably need to change this sheet up here.
Okay, I have it at 4.452 at the end of 2027.
Okay.
and then I have it at 4.015 at the end of '28.
Okay.
We need to make sure that we have that we keep that balance. I'd like it to stay around 4.4.
Okay.
So I don't like the 2028 ending balance of projection of 4.0. I realize a lot can happen between now and then, but I think we need to keep an eye on that.
Okay.
And the only way to do that is to not spend the money.
Yes. Well, I think you've seen that the general fund, we've pretty much cut all of our expenditures. Really, the only things we have is salaries, benefits. Obviously, we have some repairs and maintenance because we still have to take care of things around here. We eliminated all our contracted services. Really, our biggest expenditures is like the park stuff. And then like, telephone, utilities, that kind of stuff.
And what account are you proposing we spend $750,000 for?
This will be out of the Princeton Road TIF.
Sidewalk? This is
Yeah, the Safe Routes to School project that we applied for, that we received money through ODOT.
and how much money did we receive?
Do you remember how much?
Close to $1 million.
Yeah, it's close to $1 million, and then we have to put in anywhere from $500,000 to $750,000. The cost just keeps going up.
Yeah, well, let's get out of that.
Well,
Let's
we
turn it
can't.
down. Tell them we're not going to do it.
I think we can
I
do
mean,
that.
we might have applied for it. I don't remember voting to apply for it, and I certainly won't be voting to spend that much money for how many feet of sidewalk?
It's quite substantial. I mean,
Are they going to put a sidewalk on Morris Road?
yeah, so it's going to go from the school to the corner, and then it's going to go from the corner to Bridgewater, and then we're going to have a
It's going to go from this
crosswalk
corner all the way to Bridgewater?
from the school down, not the school.
Fairfield
The,
East.
yeah,
Okay, well, I was talking about north, so where,
east. So Fairfield East.
we're not
there's-
doing anything at north?
No. So it's Fairfield East to the corner, then it's the corner to Bridgewater, and then we're going to cross the street, and then it's going to go to Jayfield. But not to Lakewood, right? Or does it go to Lakewood? No, just to Jayfield.
We'll just go right by Lakewood.
Well, Lakewood's the other way.
Right, Lakewood's across the street from Bridgewater,
Yes.
so it's across the street. Yeah. I'm still not in favor.
This was
Of
done
us spending that
several
kind
years
of money.
ago.
This is before me, so
Well, we're in bad financial shape and not getting any better, really. So we need to do whatever we need to do.
Yeah, so this was something that we reported on years ago. This was maybe 3 years ago?
Did we vote to spend $750,000 on sidewalks for a half a mile?
But I don't know that it was,
it wasn't that expensive then. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
well,
gone
good.
up,
Well, let's go back to the original price and talk about it
it's gone up
again.
in cost substantially,
Okay, well,
unfortunately.
I vote no.
so when will this project come before us to start work on it?
Right now, we're working on right-of-way acquisition, and so it will be on ODOT's project list for their fiscal year 2028, which is July of '27.
So it could be in a different financial situation by then. So
Yeah,
can we keep
it could be
moving,
worse than what we're in now.
could we keep moving on it until we have to vote on it?
Well, again, I don't think we ought to have any committed capital improvements in this tax budget. I understand this is tax budget, not appropriations, but you know how it is. If it's in the budget, they like to say, well, this was in the budget. So,
Yeah, I mean, we had public meetings about this. This was a long process, months and months of,
did you know we received $1 million worth of state money?
I was part of the program when we were doing this years ago, of talking to the Safe Route to Schools program. I don't remember the amount. I remember them coming to us, we talked about it, then we had the meetings that took place usually during the day. I think there was maybe a couple in the evening, I don't remember exactly. It's been a while ago, I don't remember what I had for dinner last night. But, and so the discussion was the percentages. And I think, I don't remember exactly what it was, but then it was proposed that we go from the corner where the YMCA is over to the sidewalk that stops at the end of Bridgewater. Because there's a sidewalk that goes from Bridgewater, right, that stops
Right.
behind the YMCA. So it's just connecting that sidewalk that already exists. So it would be families that live in the Lakewood area, could cross the street, get on that sidewalk at Bridgewater, walk to the YMCA where it stops, and then catch this new sidewalk, go around the corner into East Elementary.
And how much does that part of it cost?
I don't have that.
I'm,
Yeah.
you know, when you think about it, you're going to have elementary kids walking out of J Field all the way down Princeton Road, crossing.
They could, I mean. the
Well,
way
they
that-
could, and we're encouraging them to do it with a sidewalk, but,
It's a safe
I
route to
wouldn't-
school.
yeah, there's nothing safe about it, Princeton Road.
Well, I mean, and also think about the situation the schools are in. They could be potentially eliminating busing for students that live so close to school. And so these safe routes would help our residents and their children get to school safely. They could walk to school, ride their bike to school, if there's no busing for them. So just, throw that out there.
Yeah,
It's nothing we get to
well,
decide tonight.
yeah. Well, sounds like it's already decided.
Well, we still have to go, we still have to vote on the construction of it, right? I mean, is that right or no?
Yeah, we'll have to enter into a contract with a contractor.
Yeah.
But I don't know if ODOT, they might be the one that controls that, right?
Yeah, no, the trustees have voted on a couple renditions of contracts with ODOT. We brought this proposal and this project before the board a number of times. The costs have increased, but we have voted on at least 2 resolutions to move forward. Previous to this, we had a contract to develop a school travel plan, which we had funded through ODOT also. So this project's been going on, for 3 years. We have maps that we can share.
It's exploded from what I thought it was to what it sounds like it is now. Not only price, but again, I can't believe we're going to encourage kids to walk down out of the J Field subdivision, down Princeton, across that road to try to get to school.
Yeah, that was always a part of the school travel plan. That was put together by the engineers that the township contracted with, and
I like the
was
two
reviewed by-
I like the resolution numbers,
Sure.
and I want to see the full documented resolution with the attachments showing all of that,
Sure,
when you get a chance.
yeah, that's not a problem.
I'm still voting no on it.
Were there crosswalks included with this?
Yeah, there's crosswalks. There's a point of access that's gonna be right across, I think it's Alexis, and the subdivision that's directly across from East. And there'll be the rapid blinking, indicators, and then a crosswalk there for students from that subdivision to access East, as well as for that neighborhood to be able to access that side of, Morris, and then access the YMCA, Bridgewater Falls. It's a fairly substantial pedestrian connection. We've been talking about it for a while.
So
But yeah, I'm more than willing to.
The
share
section
that.
from Morris Road to Bridgewater, are we encouraging the people from Lakewood to cross the road and get on that?
I don't
Because
think it's-
otherwise, there's no safe walk to school from Bridgewater.
Well, there's that crosswalk there that comes out of Lakewood and goes to Bridgewater, and then they would be able to get on the sidewalk at
That's what I mean, that-
Bridgewater and walk down the sidewalk on Princeton and then go north on
Right,
Morris.
it almost makes sense to do that.
Yeah, it's on the existing sidewalk.
And Weathered Oaks across.
Right, and Weathered Oaks will cross where he talked
Right.
about the rapid
But J
beacon.
Field, it makes no sense to me. That's a,
Well, it's a
3/4 of a
long-
mile.
It's longer, but at the same time, if we put sidewalks on the opposite side, it's just gonna increase the cost.
And there are crosswalks already at those intersections, so people.
Morris Road.
Yes, and Morris and Princeton. And people are using those crosswalks currently. So what we're doing is we're giving them a safe route. And then
I
we're
would
getting,
suggest they get in a bus or a car.
we're getting state money to help do
The
that.
the engineers from the Ohio Department of Transportation, as well as the Butler County Engineers Office, have reviewed this, commented on this, and they've been a part of the process the past 3 years. So, you know, they're making recommendations based on standards, safety standards that, you know, are developed by engineers. So it should be safe.
How does this tie in with our comprehensive plan?
Yeah, it definitely, you know, builds towards the pedestrian connectivity component of that as well.
And will the paths be set back a significant distance from the roadway? Because right now, I believe if someone wants to ride their bike or push it, you know, they're going to be right there in the road. This isn't going to be a part of the road. This is going to be
Right.
set back from the road?
Yeah, so it's varying distances of setback. The ones along, really the sidewalk piece that you're talking about that connects from J Field along Princeton to the intersection of Princeton and Morris, that's set back a good distance because there's telephone poles and an existing drainage ditch along the road there. So it's actually, the sidewalks are located on the other side of that from the roadway.
Okay. So this is the proposed budget that we send to the county, and then we would vote on a final tax in December.
We'll have to vote on
A
a
budget,
tax budget
Yeah.
itself at the July meeting.
Okay?
Then we'll send that to the county, and then in December, we'll come back with our proposed 2027 budget.
Appropriations. but-
Yes.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I just really want to make sure that we're looking ahead to 2028 and making appropriate moves in 2027 to preserve that general fund.
Okay.
And I'm sure we will, but we just need to really keep a strong view of that.
Okay.
Public comments? This is the
Any
public hearing, right?
comments? Sure, please come up to the microphone and state your name, please.
Clarification, Eileen Kleins, 4187 Bennett Drive. Can you just go over that total 2027 slide again for a moment? The one that had the total revenue, total expenditure, and then the carryover, please?
I'll do a bigger one.
Would you like to just email it to me? That would
Sure.
work. Oh,
Right
sorry.
there, sorry. It was taking its
Oh,
good
no,
old
no,
time.
not the spreadsheet, it was the PowerPoint, just the 2027.
That's what this is. It was just really small numbers on the sheet, and
Was there something, a different slide you wanted to see?
It was, I thought at the end you said there was a $13 million carryover.
yep, so, sorry, at the bottom, that 13,617 right there at the bottom, it's over on this side, Eileen.
Oh,
Third
okay,
column.
I see it.
So you can see the revenues total 19,899,728, and then the expenditures total 19,900,542. So that leaves us with a carryover balance of $13,617,430.69.
I couldn't quite read it on the other slide,
Yeah,
so
it was-
thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry about that.
Any other comments or questions from the public? Okay. I move to close the public hearing for our fiscal year tax budget. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. LaPensi, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee Birding?
Yes.
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
Trustee McAbey?
Yes?
That motion passes. We close the fiscal year 2027 tax budget public hearing at 7:40. We'll move on to items for board discussion. First item, Ms. LaPensi?
So, we've been talking pickleball courts for a while, and the Community Foundation would like us to decide, what type of signage do we want to hang in the courts to acknowledge the donors that we've gotten to pay for all the improvements. So, Michael had come up with some renderings, and then Chuck came up with some renderings. So they're in your packet, but basically, I'm going to bring one of these up so everybody else can see it too. So basically, if you guys like this, we were thinking 12 by 18 sign, which is a little bit bigger than 11 by 17 piece of paper. So it looks something like that as a pickleball court sponsor. So we have the little pickleball on the left and then our Fairfield Township logo on the right. And basically recognizing our sponsors. That's just one version.
Where would that be?
Wherever you guys want to put it. So we were thinking one on each pickleball court, I don't know.
Like on the way in?
Yeah, the way in, or, maybe at the end of each one of the courts.
Probably interior fencing somewhere.
Yeah.
One end of the fence or between the courts. They'll be used as like indicators of the court numbers also. So they'll have, on the top of them, it says court 1, court 2, court 3, court 4. So interior fencing will be where the court sponsors are located. And that sign is just a slightly larger, and that's for the tennis court.
So we're hoping to get our group to help us sponsor the tennis court, and so then it would be the Fairfield Community Foundation and our group. So maybe a little bit larger sign like Chuck had alluded to, and then hang that on the end of the tennis court on the interior fence. And then we also would like to do like one larger sign on the outside of the fence that recognizes everybody, because obviously we have to recognize ODNR. We want to recognize everybody collectively in one big sign on the outside. So.
But you don't think that's enough, just doing a one big sign on the outside?
I think that our sponsors would appreciate if we did more signage than that, just the one sign.
How much did each sponsor donate?
So we got $12,500 from our different pickleball court sponsors. And then right now, the Fairfield Community Foundation has donated $25,000 towards the tennis court. And then we got $35,000 from ODNR to do it.
And it
So-
covers the whole cost of everything?
Yeah, covers the courts. We're trying to still raise money for like the fencing and some other things that we want to do.
And you said it would be 18 by 20?
Roughly 12 by 18 is what I
12 by
said.
18?
If you guys think that's big enough, I mean, it's going to be bigger than this. Like that's 11 by 17,
So
so,
just about that size,
Yeah.
just a little bigger.
yeah.
I think they look good.
Hey Chuck, you did a good job.
Thanks.
So our sponsors are Jim and Kathy Wynant, the Birding family,
Fittens.
Butler Tech.
Shouldn't it be Susan and Michael instead of Michael and Susan?
Still up for
Probably,
I think so.
probably.
Just trying to
We'll
help you
let
out,
them fight it
Michael.
out over that.
Just trying to help you out, Mike.
It's alphabetical order.
Try that.
Put Susan first.
So yeah, it was Michael and Susan Birding. Oh, I'm sorry, the Fittens. So Woody and Diane Fitton.
And Butler Tech.
Yep, and Butler Tech. And then we're hoping our group will join us along with, we already got commitment from the Middletown Community Foundation, so.
We also, I think, got $5,000 from
yeah.
our energy,
Energy alliances, yep.
which would be used for some of those extra items that we were wanting, the extra fencing, maybe potentially benches, maybe. So we have raised more than necessary to complete the project as approved.
So
Safe to say that? Yeah.
the $5,000 donation, we get some type of sign too?
Yes.
It would be on the exterior side.
Yeah, on
right?
the exterior
Oh,
side.
okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
So also in your packet, we have the pickleball and tennis court sponsorship program form. So then we kind of outline the different sponsorships, what it is to be the $25,000 sponsorship. I'm sorry, we have 24 by 18 sign, logo on the donor board, recognition on the township website, invitation to the ribbon cutting, a recognition plaque. Yeah, we also talked about doing recognition plaques like inside the place of business. So if it's Butler Tech or if it's our group or the Middletown Community Foundation, maybe buying something that they can put in their place of business that, so they let people know as they come in. And then the court sponsor is the $12,500 donation to the $25,000. So this would include an 18 by 12 mounted sign on the court fencing, recognition on a donor board at the facility, recognition on the township website, invitation to the ribbon cutting, and then recognition plaque. And then supporting sponsor would be a contribution of $5,000 to the $12,499. So this would include recognition on donor board at the facility, recognition on the township website, invitation to the ribbon cutting, and then recognition plaque. And then we have a community partner, which would be name included on the donor recognition plaque at the facility. And here we talked about the sign specifics. The sign should be professionally manufactured. Placement are subject to the approval of the board. Sponsor logos must be provided in high-resolution electronic format. Signs remain the property of Fairfield Township, and sponsorships do not imply endorsement of any products or services. And then we have a commitment page where you can check the box and be a sponsor. So if you guys are okay with all of that and okay with the signs, we can at least send these to Butler Tech and our group and the Middletown Community Foundation, and hopefully get a lot of the,
Fairfield Community Foundation?
yeah, Fairfield Community Foundation, sorry.
Send it to both of them.
Yeah,
Maybe they'll send us some money.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
yeah. So anyway, they had a lot of questions for us, so we were hoping that with these signs and the sponsorship form that we answered a lot of the questions that they had.
And do we have an anticipated completion date? Did they give you any kind of idea?
It's, what, 30 to 60 days, Chuck?
Gentleman that I spoke to up there today really had no idea. He was supposedly pressure washed everything today, up there for the coatings. But the two men that were up here today are being pulled off tomorrow to go to another job. And wasn't for sure if they'll be back this week or not.
I think originally it was 30 to 60 days.
30 to 60 days.
Weather depending.
It's being locked every night now.
Good. Okay, any further comments or questions about the pickleball courts? Okay, we move on to paving for 2027.
Okay, so every year, the county engineer puts out a list, and they send us a request for, they want us to submit our roads, a list of roads by August 1st, and a list of retrace. So what we came up with this year, so last year we did curb and gutter project in Rentschler Estates. So this year, we would like to pave all of Rentschler Estates, which includes Cumberland Drive, Foxglove, Conley Bottom, and Rentschler Estates Drive, from where the subdivision starts going back to the north. Also on the list would be Georgetown Road from East River Road to the county line, Hastings Avenue from where it dead ends to Princeton Road, And then I asked if we could do a contingency for Hickory View Drive and Weathered Oaks, just to see how much it would cost. Because in 2028, I would like to pave the rest of Weathered Oaks, but Hickory View is a pretty long drive, so if we could get that one paved, and then hopefully in anticipation of the next year finishing out Weathered Oaks. That's our recommendations to you guys. Do you guys have any comments, thoughts, suggestions, changes?
I'd like to hear Mr. Bennett's comments.
So we had originally had, I believe, Georgetown to possibly be paved this year, but we took it off. Had some ongoing issues down there where the edge of the road is breaking off due to really there's no berm. Had maybe 3 residents call and asking, what we were going to do. We've been basically, if we have any type of leftover hot mix asphalt, we go down there and try to put it on the edge of the road to stabilize it and this, that, and the other. So Kim and I talked about Georgetown Road, and I met last Wednesday with a couple engineers from the county to try to get some direction on, what we could do to try to save that road, whether we have to go in and take out some trees that may be in the right of way and basically put some gravel base down to put some type of a shoulder on the road for when we repave it, that would keep it together. There's a little bit of water issue down there as well. They had kind of suggested maybe doing some type of a blacktop curb. I don't know if any of you have been down there in a while. But as you go up the hill where it becomes Colerain Township, that's what they did several years ago. But the county's going to try to get something together for us in the next 3 or 4 weeks, and an idea of what we can do to try to salvage that road down there. It may be a deal where it's just an overlay. We go in and overlay it versus doing, a milling and stuff like that is what they had said. Hastings, there's a gentleman that purchased the 2, I think they're a machine shop and another one is a motor repair shop or something on Hastings. They're having some issues with water getting into the 2 buildings down there. Once again, I took the county out there with me, and they're in agreement. We think that a lot of the water issues are coming from the church. So once I get more information back from the county, that may be where I get a hold of the property owner, and it's going to be an issue where, he's going to have to try to talk with the church to possibly put in a French drain across that driveway and then tie it into an existing catch basin that we have down there. But that road is in really bad shape as well, Hastings. I mean, I know it's a short stub street, but it's in pretty rough shape. Anything else?
Well, I mean, we should have an answer on the water issue before we pave it, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah,
So if we can't get that resolved before, we have to put off paving it.
right. And we'll just continue to go down there and patch like we have been, trying to hold the side of the road together. There's a couple challenges down there. There's a gas line that runs across the roadway and stuff like that, so.
Mr. Bennett, does Georgetown and Hastings, is there curbs there, or is that?
No.
No,
No,
there's no curb and gutter repair. But we'd have to do that if we added Hickory View, we'd have to do that,
Right.
right? But
That's
we've
kinda-
already done it in
kinda what-
Rensselaer.
Yes.
right. And that's kind of what I was thinking too, with the money situation, trying to do some streets that doesn't need any curb work. Try to save some.
And so you're looking for us to give the okay to send it to the county
Yes,
so we
please.
can get the bidding process started, and then we would okay add or subtract streets based on what the cost would be and
Correct.
what we're looking to spend.
Yes, I think they requested by August, and I think they usually get it back to us by our November or December meeting.
Something like that, yeah.
And then we give them the okay to move forward on that, so they include it in their bid product and bid packet, and then they bid it out in February.
Seems like they get earlier and earlier
Yeah.
every year as far as getting it out to us.
Which is good, because then we
Right.
get on everybody's list early.
Exactly.
Morris Road's falling apart, and so is Walden Pond Circle. Where are those?
I don't have them planned anytime soon. I mean, hopefully, some of the things that Ms. Lepensi's talked about tonight will try to help us out to get a better progression on that stuff.
I mean, those are two heavily traveled roads.
Which part of
Yeah, I'm
Morris?
just thinking of the money, you know, Georgetown's a short road, Hastings is a short road. That's something that we could get accomplished and not do curb and gutter. You're saving money there as well.
Well,
Versus-
and I don't disagree with that, but then when I look at the number of cars that travel Morris or the number of cars that travel Walden Ponds, and you compare the road trips to those small stubs,
And what we do too is, I don't have it with me, but we do have some record of when those roads were paved last. And, you know.
It's been a while.
Walden Ponds has been paved a time or two. And, you know, the other roads haven't been paved. I mean, it's like Kim and I talked, you know, we're having the issues up on the hill. There's a lot of streets up there that need paved. Granted, there's not a lot of traffic up there, but they're getting to the point to where they're getting in such bad shape that, you know, more base repair is more cost.
One of the projects we would like to work on for the future is producing a map, like having a map available that shows you guys, you know, when have these streets been paved in the past, so that we can start to see some kind of pattern of what we've been doing in the past. That'll help you guys to make future decisions.
I'd like to see that information along with the information I'd like to see is a spreadsheet that has the roads and the years that they were paved. So we can take a look at that and we know the last time that these roads were paved. And I'm totally fine putting that into a map too. The other thing that I know that you do is you go out and you grade the roads as well. So I'm also interested in getting that information too, maybe in that spreadsheet, so that we can see XYZ Road was last paved in 2020, 2010 or something like that. And it's in this kind of, state right now. I don't know how you rate that, like on a scale of 1 to 5 or something, but something along that line, so that we can objectively, with data, take a look at what that means.
Okay.
Thank you.
and I would say that one of the statistics that we need in that is travel. How many, you get those long cul-de-sacs, and you have maybe 8 or 10 houses on it, and it's curb and gutter. So, I mean, we spend serious money doing that. But Hickory View is a long street that handles 90% of the traffic that
Right.
goes in and out of those cul-de-sacs. So to me, that road's going to have to be done more often than the cul-de-sacs themselves. So I think that needs to factor in. Easier said than done, but I know.
It's tough. I mean, I beat myself up over it every year.
And we appreciate what you do, Jeff, okay?
Oh, I get it, I understand. It's just, I wish we could pave everybody's street, and, like Kim and I have talked, it'd be great to go in and knock a subdivision out at a time.
We don't have the money for that.
Exactly, so,
Even when we had 60 road miles, we didn't have the money for that. And now we have 81 miles that we take care of, and we don't have the money for that either.
And the thing to remember too is there were a number of years where we did do a lot of catch-up money, where we did extra allocations for paving. We did receive some extra money during COVID to do some paving.
Right.
And the county commissioners gave us some money to do some paving. So I respect that you've made best use of what we can with those paving dollars.
and I remember too, when I first started, we didn't really do a curb and gutter program. The roads were just paved, and that was it, and that's not the proper way to do it, so. you need to go in and do the curb and gutter and stuff and then, pave the roads, so
And usually in that order.
usually.
And unfortunately, the sheer math of this doesn't really work in our favor because we've got 81 road miles, and on average, how many miles do we pave a year?
It depends on the area.
What do we do
1
this
to
year?
3?
4?
4?
If that,
Right. And so the math really isn't on our side
Right.
because the roads are going to deteriorate faster than we can get to them, unfortunately.
yep. All right, thank you.
Any other comments on paving?
Well, we have the list now. I usually like to go out and ride and bumper along on them just to see how bad they are and compare them to the other ones that I drive that are bumpy already and see.
Yeah.
So maybe we make that decision in July since it has to be by August 1st, right?
Okay.
Okay, the next item was about the open full-time position with the fire department. I think it'd be great to have the fire chief here for that discussion. Is it okay if we table that?
Where is he?
Under the weather.
Yeah, he's under the weather.
Well, I hope he feels better.
Okay, next item is the fire station repairs. Mr. Pensy?
So we've talked about this a number of times, and we were close to, we had it on the agenda back in February, and then we decided to table the renovations pending the submission of a grant that we submitted for capital grant money. We found out recently that we were not one of the recipients of the money, so I had asked at the last meeting that if we could keep it on the radar and keep moving forward with it. I talked to HGC, which is the contractor, and it'll be an additional $82,000 to do the work. If we bring it in, he believes he'll be ready to go by the July meeting. So if we put it on the agenda and get it approved, they'll be able to move forward in July, August with the renovations. They estimate it'll take about 6 to 8 months to do the renovations. The one thing we'll have to decide is how we pay for it. We did budget money this year in the TIF funds to pay for it, but I just think it'd be a better idea if we financed it. We still have TIF money available in the Princeton Road TIF. We still have we're getting 75% of the money for the next 5 or 6 years, and I think we should just finance it and pay it back. That's my 2 cents.
And I know, Trustee McAbey, that you have expressed that you're against doing any kind of capital improvements right now. I see things slightly different. I think that, we've been putting this off because we were waiting for the results of the levy. And we're like, well, we're not going to repair it if we're not going to be able to staff it. And so now that the levy has passed, I feel, in my opinion, and I don't know what anybody else's, I feel like we should move forward with this project because it's only going to get more expensive. We're not going to be closing down the firehouse because we did pass the levy to keep a certain level of protection in our community. So I'm of the opinion that we should move forward before it gets even more expensive to do sort of almost the basic repairs that we sort of agreed to almost a year ago, I think it was, when we talked about this, just to get the project moving and provide a good environment for our fire personnel. But I open the floor to further discussion for this. And I agree with the administrator that if we were to do this, I think we should finance it and pay it off within the 5 years using our TIF money. Thoughts? Trustee Harkemeyer?
I think that makes sense. Generally, I'm not in favor of taking debt, but I think in this case, I'm very interested in preserving our cash position. So I would like to look at some financing options, just so that we can preserve that cash position. If there's maybe a call on that. I don't even know if 5 is the right number. Maybe it's 7, maybe it's 10, but I'm very concerned about keeping our cash position where it needs to be, so that we can protect our operations. And that building has been a leaky problem for many, many years, and this needs to fix it once and for all. I mean, this needs to absolutely positively be the fix that handles this, because it's been something that we have struggled with for years and years and years over there. I would be very disappointed if it didn't fix it.
Me too. For the amount of money we're going to put forward.
Exactly.
Any further comment on this? So it will be brought back to us in July, and then we can have further discussion once we see, I guess, any kind of payment numbers that we're
Okay.
going to pay for it. Would that be okay to have that discussion in July?
Sure.
Okay. All right, the next item is no-through truck traffic enforcement.
All right, we put this back on the agenda. We talked about it last year in November. We passed a resolution, and now we're kind of working through how do we make this all work. So Shannon had asked for further discussion on it so that we could put signage in multiple locations prior to even getting on Vintage. So she indicated to me that she would like to see signs on Hamilton Mason and on Liberty Fairfield, letting truck traffic know that it's not okay or it's prohibited to come down Vintage. So as you come through the roundabout, there should be signs placed at 3 different locations, letting the truckers know that they need to continue on different routes and not go down Vintage. And then the same for the other side. So coming down Tylersville or coming down Seward Road, that it's not okay to come up Vintage. We'll have to clearly communicate that to Fairfield, which we have done. I know Chief you guys have been working with the city of Fairfield on the police end to maybe deal with some enforcement and on their side so that, the trucks aren't coming down on Vintage through their entrance. And then we also talked about going and visiting some of the businesses on Seward to make sure those businesses are aware that the truck traffic can't come down Vintage. Doug had worked tirelessly on trying to come up with some signage for it, and I didn't know if you had a chance to review it and if you were okay with it. Basically, we would put a sign up that says truck route at roundabout, follow routes shown. And then, I did have another sign, but I can't see it. Oh, here it is. So we talked about doing some signage like that, the no-through trucks, and having since a lot of people don't speak English, maybe just have this sign that is very visual so that they know that they can't go down Vintage, but they can go down these other routes. And obviously a no truck. Jeff, you had mentioned that the county has certain
Something
signs.
similar
Something
at 5 Points Roundabout.
Okay.
We did have a no truck sign up similar to that one there. It said
Okay.
nothing over 3/4 ton. And that's what we took down and put up the no through trucks sign that was the same as what the city of Fairfield put up and moved it closer to the roundabout.
Okay. So, and the county, and then Shannon talked to the county, and the county's okay with us putting up more signage on their roadways since Liberty Fairfield and Hamilton Mason are their
Right.
maintenance responsibility. So the only other thing we probably need to talk about is how we're going to make the tickets work. The ticketing process is a civil process, so we would have to administer or give out an administrative ticket, and then it does not go through the court process, so we would have to pay the fines, I'm assuming here at the building, and then.
Fiscal officer.
Yeah, okay. So we would pay it here to the fiscal officer, and then if people don't pay, then I think Katie said we would go through a process to get them to pay it.
Right.
Okay.
And this stems from, I've had multiple residents in that neighborhood reach out to me regarding trucks on that road, and it's still happening. They're concerned about that. They don't like those big trucks going there. I'm concerned about the wear on the road over there too, because that road is
Yeah,
not designed for
I actually
that.
got behind one the other day that went through there. They were going to do paving in a subdivision there right off of Tylersville.
Yeah.
In the city of Fairfield, but yeah.
So it's just, yeah, we need to, and I don't know I don't know why they're choosing that, but we need to let them know it's not the choice to make. The other thing too, I want to make sure that maybe we get some signs posted at those warehouses
Okay.
so that as they exit those facilities, it says do not go, like the same sort of signage, pictorial and with words, so that they know don't go down Vintage, don't go down Seward.
Don't go down Morris.
Right. 'Cause
That's where you're going to push them. You're going to push them to Morris Road.
Well,
and-
Morris is a no
Yes.
through truck traffic too.
Well,
So,
And maybe we add those
We need to-
signs there too as
Okay.
well.
This is in response to a resolution that we passed in November.
yes.
Any further discussion?
When do we set the fines?
It's in the resolution. I think it's,
500, first of,
$250, the first violation, $500 for the second, and third, $1,000 for the third, within a 1-year period.
and starts over?
Sorry?
Does it start over after a 1-year period?
Yes, I would think so. Okay. Before we move past items for board discussion, I've had some discussions with our fire department about our overtime. Is that okay to discuss during this period? We discussed like eliminating overtime, and the fire department is having difficulty getting enough people to work to keep the fire station open. And so after having discussions with the fire chief and with the union, I feel we should at least allow them to get to the minimum of 9 people on duty. That would keep the fire station open. It's not really the level they want to be. They'd like to be at a minimum of 11. But it doesn't, it would significantly cut the amount of overtime they've been spending by probably 50%, I think the number was, 56%, something like that.
56% is adding the 3 new positions.
Okay. But I think they're reducing the overtime from 11 to 9 was reducing it by more than half,
Believe it was.
right? So is that okay if we give the administrator the authority to approve that overtime to at least get them to the minimum of 9 people on staff at one time, as opposed to 11? What are your thoughts? Again, it's significantly reducing the amount that we were on track to spend. And I feel it, if it gets below 9, and I believe the fire chief was telling me, and please Chuck and Mr. Penzi tell me if I'm wrong, but if they get below 9, they would probably have to shut down one of the stations because they couldn't have runs out of there.
If they get to 6, they would have to shut a station down.
Get them to 6.
6.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on that? Any opposition to allowing her to do that?
I don't think we need to be doing any overtime, scheduled overtime,
No scheduled overtime.
right?
But if
So
someone
somebody's
calls
on,
off, what happens if someone calls off?
yeah, what happens?
Then someone's got to come in for overtime to get them to 9?
You know, hiring more people than we could afford is how we got in this mess. You know, you're talking about shutting this station down anyway for 9 months, right?
I don't think we're
And a
shutting.
trailer, he's talking about, the last thing, he was going to put a trailer out here and put 3 people in it, right? That's what he said. So to me, I think we need to eliminate all overtime in every department. I mean, I understand you're going to have some at the end of the shift with a call or, you know, something like that, or an emergency situation like we probably had when we got all the rain and the storms or whatever, but I think, as we talked about, I think it all goes to the administrator, and I think it needs to be monitored. And again, I don't think we ought to be scheduling any overtime. It's my understanding that he's still doing that in the fire department.
So the conversations took place about overtime and the concerns that the three trustees have. And I learned a lot from the conversation as far as,
I'm sorry, who'd you talk to?
I talked to the fire chief and I talked to the union rep.
Mhm.
And, because I needed to know, like, in order to make a sound financial decision, I needed to know, like, are these just numbers, or is this services, like, where is the overtime coming from? And it happens when people are scheduled part-time workers, like, there are part-time firefighters, they're scheduled to work, and they get pulled into their full-time job. And so then, instead of shutting down the firehouse, he's asking for.
And we're not close to shutting down the
I'm sorry.
firehouse, right?
Instead of running extremely short, less than 9, and based on that one sheet, it was like, if it's less than 9, then certain vehicles can't go out because there's no money left to get on them.
Right. Certain
So-
trucks can't go out.
So-
There'll be one truck short because they would have to put 3 people on one truck instead of sending 2.
So, my concern is that, let me finish that thought. So if someone calls off, they were asking a full-time person to then fill that shift on overtime. Because we don't have the part-time personnel, because the part-time that was scheduled to work that got called into their other full-time
Right,
job.
right.
So I would like to give the administrator the authority to allow that if it gets below that 9, to get to that 9 level, if someone calls off. That's my input.
And you're saying that moving to the 9 instead of the 11 will give us some cost reduction?
It saves, I think it was 50% of the overtime.
Yeah, it was a pretty substantial amount. I believe that the fire chief said that if we were staffing at 9, he just looked at the past couple months, it would account for like 7% of the overtime costs.
Dollar-wise, what
and-
does that look like?
Let's see. I don't know if I have that form that's specifically related to overtime.
So, and what other changes has he made staffing-wise to help reduce his costs?
So I know that
Anything?
they've been interviewing people that just graduated from Butler Tech and the Great Oaks.
Mhm.
They've gone to their career fairs, and I think they've interviewed, I think they have 3 ready to be hired and 2 more, or maybe it's 2 ready to be hired and 3 more in pipeline.
Yeah, so it was like
So it's
5
going to be like
total.
5 part-timers, would help offset that. So maybe the overtime doesn't have to happen, but until they get start working for us, there might be some days that they need to fill that overtime, just to fill the gap until the more part-timers are here.
So how many full-timers does he have in this building every day?
You know, that's a question I
And
don't,
how many does he have in the other buildings?
So, from my
Seven-
understanding, it varies depending on.
7
day
and
to
6. So
7 and
7 at the 11s and 6 at the 12s.
day. At the max. They'll
Yeah, that's
have-
max.
They'll have 6 at the 12s and.
Does that
7
count,
at
does that count the
11s.
chief, the assistant chief, the fire inspector?
No, these are people that are riding on the medics and the
And
engines.
all 3 of those people can ride on all those things, right?
Well, you need command staff in different vehicles for accountability.
And they could
and
drive their own
command
car,
commander and
right?
things like that.
We used to do the fire inspection part-time. We used to do it when nothing else was happening. I think there needs to be some change to the staffing level until we get that new money. And I'm not seeing it.
well, we just sort of implemented the no overtime. And so you will see it.
A year ago, next month, I suggested strongly that they need to limit their overtime. And the fire department's done very little to do that.
Right, and I think that well, I'm not gonna say right, I'm gonna say, okay, because I can't verify they've done nothing. Because I don't know if they've been trying different things, or do they just haven't?
And I didn't say nothing, I said very little.
Okay. So let me say that I feel like they've doing some things, and maybe they haven't been working because the part-time fire structure doesn't really work
Right.
well.
We can't depend on that, we
Right.
know that.
So I think the things that they've been doing have been backfilling with overtime because of the lack of the pool of part-time candidates that we have. And so I think now they're hiring more part-time to help bring more numbers in. And I think that will help a lot with the overtime. But until those firefighters are hired to come in, there might be some days or weeks or whatever that they need or desire to fill that, to get up to the 9 with overtime personnel.
9 total in the
9 total on
township,
staff. On staff, not at each firehouse. 9 on duty.
not counting the fire inspector or the assistant chief or the chief.
That's correct.
Yes.
So here, Joe, I have, let me flip this around so that you can,
Chuck, do you have that number for me? Or do you want to
As
get
far
that
as
for me
the
later?
percentage, no. I don't know what the dollar amount
If
would
you
have
wanna
been.
get that
I
to
know
me
that
later, it's
they
fine.
said, I guess, to date, that they've spent approximately $216,000 in overtime, year to date. So I guess if you divide that by,
And so you're looking at $500,000 for the year at the current pace.
so if you divide that by, I could do some tabletop math.
Which we're not asking to, I'm sorry, I'm not asking to do the current pace that we're at, filling overtime up to 11. I'm not asking that. I'm asking for it to be reduced down to 9 at least. Let them get to 9, that would reduce that number by half, because there's 2 more positions. But at least it gets us a start. And then we can have conversations about how's that working, and how does that work into a schedule if you wanted to hire the full-time. Like, what does that do for the overtime hours? Which I'd like to have the conversation with the chief when he's available in the public discussion. I've already had that discussion with him because I wanted that information. So, but what I'm asking is after the conversation with the chief and him explaining when vehicles can run based on certain numbers, I asked him, I said, well, please work with the trustees because we can't treat everything inside of silos. We have to look at the whole township as it is. Is there a way that we can go to the 9? And would that be helpful? Because I'll take anything you can give me, but getting to the 9 would be very helpful, and it would help eliminate the overtime that would be if we go to 11 personnel by half. So it's of my opinion that we should at least try to get to the 9 people at a fire station at a time. And with part-timers coming in, that's even going to eliminate more overtime.
Right.
Because now we have the new part-timers that could be working those shifts. Thoughts?
I like moving to the 9. I think that's a sensible compromise.
It doesn't solve it 100%, but it doesn't, to me, it does mitigate some of the risks that if we're only having one vehicle going to be able to go out at a time out of a fire station. To me, that half of our township would be underserved, in my opinion. So if we could just go to that for now, as a stopgap, let's reevaluate it and move forward. Is that okay?
I'd like to try that, and I'd like to have some discussions on how it's working. I'd like to have some data and feedback on what that looks like, what those numbers actually look like. So let's, I think it's a sensible compromise to move in that direction, and let's just keep the communication channels open so that we can see how that works, and are we still meeting the needs of the community, and what's that doing to our
And
numbers?
still being mindful of the dollars that are being spent.
Absolutely.
And I guess I could go along with that as long as it goes through the administrator and she okays it.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Because again, we've asked him to make changes and I haven't seen any proof of it, so.
Well, I think, I don't know that I have done a great job of, I think some words that I have said in public meetings had different interpretations, And so I think when we said cut overtime, we meant totally, and it was, and I mentioned unless it's an emergency, but the fire chief took that as, well, it's an emergency, like the houses are catching fire and there's accidents, so it's an emergency. So the discussions I had with him, we talked about, okay, now we're talking about like, there's a disaster, okay, overtime, like, yeah, we have a tornado come through and you're having to chainsaw people out of their houses, yes, like let's call people in and have overtime, but.
But to schedule overtime to begin with,
Not scheduled to get to 11. It's quite possible if someone says, hey, next Thursday I can't work, that the chief has to schedule someone for overtime to get to 9. As long as the administrator is handling that, I feel better about allowing that to happen. Because she understands what our direction is. Okay? So you clear? Like,
Clear as mud.
okay, clear as mud, all right,
No, I know what you mean.
okay,
I just want to make sure everybody else knows what you mean.
yes.
All right,
We'll allow the overtime to get to the 9,
okay.
but we're not yet at the getting to 11
Right.
overtime.
And then we'll talk about the 3 people another time.
When the chief is back.
and I for one would still like him using those 3 full-time people that he has, 9 to 5, in a different way when he needs to.
So, and I believe, and I think he told me this, that there are times where our inspector goes into the command role and one of our shift supervisor goes onto the truck, if need be. If I remember correctly, but let's
Well, I would
ask him
hope
that.
so. I would hope so.
Okay, well-
And I would hope that
You said,
they would push him on down, and the assistant chief could be command, and push him on down, and the chief could be command.
And I believe those 3 positions are already doing something similar to that. They're filling vacancies in command. And all 3 of those positions are also flexing their time, not accumulating any overtime, looking out for the budget. All 3 of those are
right,
currently.
Is there a way that we can quantify that so that we can share it with the board?
Yeah, I think he could do
I
that.
think he has. He's given us a memo before saying how many hours he saved us by doing that. So we'll dig that out and we'll give it to you.
Thank you.
We'd like some current information on that, too.
Okay.
great. Thank you very much for getting through that discussion. Okay, there's no other items for board discussion. So we move to communication. Have anybody sign up? Well, this is the portion of the meeting where you, the residents of Fairfield Township, are invited to share your thoughts with the board. Please know that this time has been set aside from the board to listen to you. Your comments are valued and will be taken into careful consideration. The board will not engage in dialogue at this time. Presentations are limited to 3 minutes each. And we didn't have anybody sign up today. Did anybody miss sign up? Okay. All right, we'll move on to consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are considered by the Board of Trustees to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. Any trustee may remove an item from the consent agenda by request. No second is required for the removal of an item. Items removed for separate discussion will be considered after the motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I'll second it. Any questions or comments?
And the OKI funding Princeton Road improvements and park grant Metro Parks, what is this about? Is this another one that's in 2 years it's going to cost us $750,000 that we don't have?
So the 2 grants through OKI, the first one is the paving grant. So we submitted a grant for over $1 million to pave Princeton Road. Find that information. I have it in my.
That was the one we said we were going to contribute $200,000 towards.
Yeah, it's like our share's 20%, so.
And this is just to apply for it?
Stations. Okay. Township submitted paving grant for Princeton Road from the bypass to 800 feet beyond Walden Pond Circle in the amount of $1,195,052. Our local share will be 20% or $239,010. If approved, it will be a 2028 project. So when you submit a grant through OKI, there is also an inflation factor. So you put the number in and it inflates it to a 2028 cost. Like it has it built in. So that's the first one. The second one is the county engineer's office submitted a second grant to OKI for the widening of Princeton Road and sidewalk improvements from the point where the paving grant ends, which is 800 feet beyond Walden Pond Circle, to Leeds Lane, which is down near Hampshire. The cost of improvements will be $4,961,292. Our local share will be 50%, which would be $2,480,645. If approved, it would be a 2030 project. The third grant we submitted was a park grant through Metro Parks for Heroes Park to install benches and landscaping next to the new pickleball and tennis courts. The cost of the project will be $8,250. Our local share will be 40% or $3,250. Does that answer your questions?
It does, and it's $2.2 million is what it's going to cost us.
2.2 for what?
Well, 2 million is half of the 4 million, right?
Yep.
And 200,000 on the other one. 2
Yep.
plus
Oh.
2 is not 4, it's 2.2 million
Yes.
of money we don't have.
Well, we do have money in the Princeton Road TIF, and that's where I will budget that money from, will be the Princeton Road TIF. Because obviously it's Princeton Road that we're using it to improve.
And what's our balance in that Princeton Road TIF that would cover that or not cover that? How close would we be to covering that?
It generates over $2 million a year,
Yeah.
right?
For a couple more years, and
Well, till 32.
if I understood you right, you were talking
Yeah.
about paying for the
2032.
financing on the fire station out of that same account, so
All right, well, let's talk through that then. So each year, we get how much in that TIF fund?
Each year, we get about 2.8 million. So at the end of 2025, we had a balance of $1,862,603.93 with, if we use the money to fix the fire station and not finance, we'll be at a cash balance of 1.815614
And that's in what year, please?
this year.
Okay, so for
So-
2026, we could use that money to pay for the fire
Yeah,
remodel.
we do have the money, we did budget it.
Okay, so because what I want to talk about right now is some cash projections on what that would look like. Okay, so we've got 2026, we've got 2027, 2028, and that project is looking at happening in what, 2030?
So if you look at page.
What did OKI say?
2030.
2030,
Yeah.
okay. So in 2026, we've got money to pay, if we wanted to, if we didn't want to finance, right? We could take out that 2 point and cover that, right? But then in 2027, we're going to get another 2.2 million?
2.8.
2.8.
2.8, and what are we going to use that money for? Do we know?
In 2028, I have budgeted for
Wait, I'm
the,
talking, okay, 2028, what did you want to use that for?
we're going to budget 250,000 for the Princeton Road paving, if we get that.
Okay,
And then I have $500,000 budgeted to replace the tower. And then I
Okay.
have money budgeted to pay back the bonds for financing.
if we were in 2026, not, if
Yeah,
we
if we
chose
don't-
not to.
right.
Okay. So then when we need the money in 2030 to pay for the widening of Princeton Road, would that
Yep.
money be there in the TIF?
Yep, I got 2.5 plugged in, plus $500,000 to pay for the tower, plus money to pay for the bonds. We go into negative spending just for that 1 year, but we do have enough money to cover all of it.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that we have money in that TIF fund to cover the firehouse.
Part of the firehouse.
Part of the
Not all of
firehouse.
it, but we have it I budgeted from other tips as well.
Okay, so we have money to cover in that, and we do have money in the TIF to cover the paving for 250, and we have money for the tower, and then we have money for the widening?
Yep, and we have money, I have $750,000 budgeted for the sidewalks for 2027, plus money to pay
Okay.
back the budget, or pay back the bonds.
Okay,
I got it all worked out. Page 15 of the
page
budget.
15 of the budget?
Yep.
Okay. So it sounds like we would have, if we wanted to use the TIF money for that we do have the money for it then?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I right? Okay.
When does that tip end? 2031?
2031 is when it ends. I think last collection would be 2032. So, and then our contribution to the schools increases from the 25% to the 62.3%. So we would only collect
A little less than a
30,
million.
yeah.
A little less than a million.
And you said the 750 for the sidewalk, are we on the Princeton Road, or are we talking about the school, walk to school?
Yeah, the Safe
Carefully
Routes to
program.
School, Safe Routes to School program through
That's-
ODOT.
That's the 750?
Yeah.
So that's not 750 towards the 4 million on Princeton Road?
Yeah. So, yeah, so we will have to figure out, design-wise, how we want to fund that too. That'll probably have to be a separate question.
What do you mean?
The email that I sent out about
I
us
did,
getting
I saw
that.
So can we use the TIF for that or no?
Yeah, we can use the TIF for that too.
Okay.
We'll just have to, that's why I was thinking, if we finance the fire station and pay it back, and then use that money that we were gonna budget to pay for design for the Princeton Road project, then we're,
The 151,000 for the design, does that go from bypass all the way down, or is that
no,
just?
it's just from the 800 feet beyond Walden
Just
Pond
from Normandy
Circle
Heights down to
to
the,
Leeds Lane.
where the North Hamilton crossing is going to drop
Yes,
in
it's
on
gonna,
us?
right, yes.
And that's something that we've been talking about for years, is widening Princeton Road. Does this include sidewalks there too, I think?
It includes sidewalks on one side of the street.
Okay. I think that's something that we've all been very interested in for a number of years, is widening that road and putting sidewalks. And I remember discussions of concerns about people pushing buggies and different things through the grass there. And I'm relieved to know that we've got that money in the TIF that we can utilize to pay for that. And it sounds like that's a permissive use and probably what we want to use that for, right? And it looks like it's all there.
And the 500,000 for the ladder truck, that's not enough for the ladder truck? Where are you going to get the rest of it?
Well, we'll have to budget it multiple funds over multiple
But
years.
you won't have it in the TIF anymore after the first year.
Right, we'll budget it, we'll set it aside, but we won't spend it, because obviously it now is taking 2 to 4 years to build, depending on, the design of the truck. But yeah, we'll just have to keep saving that and keep it,
But we won't be able to save it out of that TIF account because we're going to need it for the road work.
eventually, but we can do both. We can, I made it work for both. Obviously, the final decision is up to you guys.
Any further comments or questions? Okay. We have the roll call, please.
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
Trustee McAbey?
Yes?
Trustee Birding?
Yes. And that consent agenda is adopted. May we have the,
Could we
sure,
take 5 minutes?
absolutely. It's 8:39. We will recess for 5 minutes, come back at, let's say 8:45. Let's go 6 minutes.
Okay.
Are you going to get a fiscal officer's report?
Yes.
You have music playing or something. We get a band real quick.
That hold music, like when you're on wine and.
I'm used to that one. You did not give me this one.
Which one? Thanks.
Good to see that you were able to find the place again.
Yeah, in no trouble.
He probably knows it by heart. Yes, they finally caught back up,
Yeah.
and then,
It's not to see what went to the budget, because I thought it was going to be, set it up, I thought it was going to be a pretty.
I know, we did too.
Sputtered for a year at least.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure she caught back up with all the collections and then has him back on track. It was a foreign company, and I guess they didn't understand, and so they say.
Sure.
Yeah, sure, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, they started collecting, and then we finally gotten, I don't know, $60,000 or $70,000 in there, so felt comfortable, like, you know, if we have to, next year, we could at least budget a police car or something out of it.
Okay, we are back from recess. We'll move on to fiscal officer's report. Ms. Lepetzi, pinch hitting for Ms. Shelley Schultz.
All right, so as of June 1st, 2026, in our checking account balance, we have $4,607,155.67. In our checking account balance for our medical expenses, we have $147,491.30. JED money received to date in the Hamilton JED totals $328,602.02. JED revenue received to date from the Fairfield JED, it totals $119,824.68. In our investment account, the interest that we earned in May totals $32,600.32. The total that we have in that investment account totals $13,028,556.26. The bad thing is we're only earning 2.95% interest, which it's slowly been going down over this whole last year. EMS billing receipts to date totals $391,560.69. Revenue received to date totals $11,853,041.03, which accounts for 58.16% of what we budgeted. Expenditures to date totals $11,341,316.78, which represents 46% of what we appropriated. Payments made in May total $2,844,227.75. And then you can see some of our major fund balances, the general fund being one of them at $4,767,123.64. And then total of all funds equals $17,679,673.91. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Any comments from the board? Questions? Okay. Thank you, Ms. LaPensi.
Problem.
We'll move on to administrator's report.
Okay, under the first motion, we have a motion to schedule the second public hearing for the proposed permissive motor vehicle license fees, 2 of them, for June 26, 2026 at 9 a.m. in this building.
Motion to adopt.
Second. Any questions or comments? Okay, Ms. LaPensi, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee McAbey?
Yes.
Trustee Birding?
Yes.
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
That motion passes.
And do we need anything other than the public hearing set to be able to vote on it?
No, I think that's all you need now.
We can vote out of the public hearing?
Yes, you have to have 2 public hearings, and they were both properly noticed.
Yep, they're on our website and on Facebook.
So we'll be able to vote while we're in that public hearing, the second one?
Yep.
We don't need a separate meeting for that?
No, I think
No.
you can vote during the public hearing at the conclusion of it. Yes.
Thank you, Trustee McAbey. May we have the first resolution, please?
Resolution number 26-55 is a resolution amending Articles 1, 4, 5, and 6 of the Personnel Policy Manual for Fairfield Township. One thing that I would like to say is that I added a couple policies to it. I added a chain of command policy, a workplace trust, and employee conduct to that manual. And then should be noted that we didn't really discuss take-home vehicles, which I think we agreed that we would kind of table that until the outcome of the police levy. We're going to end cell phone allowances as of July 3rd. And let's see, I'm going to have to change Section 2 since we talked about overtime. In Section 2, I have that no overtime shall be paid unless approved by the township administrator, and if it is paid, should be absolutely necessary to the operations of the township.
Well, that's
I
what we
think,
agreed upon.
yeah, I think it's saying the same thing.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, we
You-
said we
you
gave
still approve
authority
it.
to-
okay, I just want to make sure that everybody's okay with that wording, because I want
Yes.
to put it in writing so that
You approve it
nobody
in
questions
advance,
it.
not after the fact,
Okay, all right,
right?
Yes.
In advance.
yes, sir.
Motion to adopt.
Second. Any questions or comments? Ms. LaPensi, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee McAbey?
Yes.
Trustee Birding?
Yes.
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
That resolution is adopted. May we have the next resolution, please?
Resolution number 26-58 is a resolution authorizing the township administrator to execute all necessary documents to renew the township's coverage for cyber insurance through CFC at an annual cost not to exceed $8,700, which is effective June 1st, 2026 through May 31st, 2027. And it should be noted that we saved almost $3,000 in our renewal. We qualified for some tax credit and received a decrease, because I think last year we paid over $10,000 for our policy.
Motion to adopt.
Second?
Any questions or comments? Ms. Lepensky, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee McAbey?
Yes.
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
Trustee Birding?
Yes, and that resolution is adopted. May we have the next resolution, please?
Resolution 26-59 is a resolution declaring the necessity of levying an additional tax in the excess of the 10 mil limitation within the township and requesting the county auditor to certify matters in connection therewith. So this is for the police levy and is to put back on the 2.99 mil police levy for a continued period of time.
Motion to adopt.
Second. Any further comments or questions?
When the last vote, I had several people mention to me that it might be easier for them to vote for it if it were 5 years instead of continuing. So I thought I'd just bring that up to see what the board's thoughts on that were.
I'm in favor of having it as a continuing levy. I understand that some people will have reservations voting for it, but I think to keep us moving forward and to try to alleviate some of our financial issues that we have, I think it should be a continual levy, my opinion.
And I don't disagree with that, but we need it passed.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, I believe, I'm pretty optimistic that it would pass. I just think that it failed by such little margin, and I know you've expressed your opinion that because it was a low turnout. My opinion is that it was a high turnout for a May election, but yeah, I have confidence. I think the voters have seen that we've made efforts to curb some of the spending that we've had. I think they've seen that our administrator has done a great job of finding ways of saving us money, and we're not just asking for funds to just spend at will, that we're really looking at our finances, and I think that they'll see that, and I'm confident that our police force will have the ability to go out and to sell their case.
And I don't disagree with what she said about the turnout. I guess, again, it just depends on how you say it and how you interpret it. In the November election, there will be more people voting.
Yes, I agree.
So we have a better chance of getting that 50.1% than we did in May with all the crowded things that were on the ballot.
Right.
But again, I just thought I would suggest that when I was first elected in 1995, all we had was renewable levies. And the first thing we did was to replace them with continuing levies so that we knew we had a sustained income to provide a certain level of coverage for the township. And that's the way I think it should be, but again, it needs to pass.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? All right, we had a first and a second, so Ms. Lepensky, can we have the roll, please?
Trustee McAbey?
Yes?
Trustee Birding?
Yes.
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
That resolution is adopted.
And we'll have all the correct documentation to go to the auditor's office, so we
Yeah, I got it.
can
Got
just do
it.
this
No
no
special
more than
meeting.
2
We
or
don't,
3
we
times.
don't have to create
2
a
or 3
police
times.
district anymore, so we got it.
Okay. May we have the next resolution, please?
Resolution number 26-60 is a resolution authorizing playground mulch to be purchased and installed at Heroes Park from Playground Equipment Services at a price not to exceed $12,600. And just, it should be noted, we did get 3 quotes, and PES was the cheapest at the $12,600.
Motion to adopt?
Second. Any further discussions or questions? Ms. Lepensky, can we have the roll, please?
Trustee McAbey?
Yes?
Trustee Birding?
Yes.
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
And that resolution is adopted. May we have the next resolution?
Resolution 26-61 is a resolution authorizing the administrator to contract with Principal for vision, dental, and voluntary life benefits. You can see from the packet that our broker put this out to bid through multiple entities for life, dental, and vision, and we are happy to report that our health broker was able to negotiate a 6% decrease for dental, a 14.27 decrease for vision, and lower life insurance tables for all of our voluntary life products. It should also be noted, too, that we found an incorrect pricing at ADP, so we will also be giving refunds to all of our employees for cost overcharges that we didn't realize was in ADP. So,
Motion to adopt.
Second?
Any further questions or comments? Ms. LaPensi, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee McAbey?
Yes.
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
Trustee Birding?
Yes, and that resolution is adopted. May we have the next resolution?
Resolution 26-62 is a resolution to charge a fee for non-emergency ambulance transfers. So this will be a first reading with the option to approve. So basically, we put together a resolution to implement a $750 fee for non-emergency transfers from any facility, specifically nursing homes, but any group facility to the hospital after 3 calls. So after the 3rd call, we would charge you $750 if it was not an emergency to transport a person to a hospital facility.
So help me understand that. Is that just a call that they're saying, hey, we have someone here that we would like you to take to the hospital? Or
But
is
it's
it,
not an emergency.
right, but if they call like 911 and we show up, and is that something that our staff deems, well, we don't need to transport you, or, so how can that be enforced? I don't have that knowledge.
I guess the paramedics with the time make the decision if it was non-emergency, if it was not needed. I don't know if the hospital or the nursing homes call us and ask us to transport. I'm not really sure exactly how that works.
Do you know how many of those we had last year?
No, Ryan,
Last week, last month?
yeah, no, I don't have that. Let me see if he maybe gave me that in the paperwork. Hold on a second.
And this is just a first read.
Yeah.
I would like to find out that, because if someone calls 911 and you show up and they're like, I want to be transported, I feel terrible.
Well, that's a different
Right.
story.
Well, then the facility could then just keep calling 911 to get them transported to avoid that 750 fee.
Who do we charge on that, the facility or the person?
It would be the facility, because they're making the call to call us. What happens typically is they, may fall out of bed, and then they call us to come do lift assist to get the people back into bed, and then they may decide they want to transport them to the hospital, but it's really not an emergency. That's when that happens, but I will get some more definitive numbers from the chief.
Okay.
To get them back in the bed, that's not an emergency?
Well, not to transport, it's not
Yeah.
an emergency to transport them to the
Right.
hospital.
Could we get some more backstory perhaps and some more data on
Yeah.
what that looks like? I think that we're all interested in like the number of service calls that would be. And I'm really curious, I'd like to learn more about the backstory, and I think the board would too.
Okay.
And so, is that also for non-transport? In other words, if they call to lift assist back in bed, is that a $750 charge?
No, because we're talking about transport fees.
Okay.
So when we have a cost to go to the hospital for gasoline and our personnel, and, obviously we're out of service at that point. So yeah, that would be for the $750 charge,
Okay, 'cause
not just showing up.
Because I just read that one of the whereases, Fairfield Township loses a significant amount of money each year responding to ambulance calls which are not emergencies and do not require the township ambulance service. So is it, I guess the ambulance would have to come to get someone back up into bed. So is that an emergency? Is that call an emergency?
No, that wouldn't be what I'm talking about. This would be like, say the hospital needs to transport them to the hospital for,
They have a test, just
yeah,
have
like a test or an, an office visit or something, but the nursing home can't take them.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I'm talking
So
about.
they're calling us
Yes,
to say, can you take them?
right.
And it's just, they have an appointment and they're wanting to use us to,
Yeah, as a transport service.
okay. Yeah, I'd like to get some more data on how much that's
Okay.
actually occurring and.
And some of it may be in these definitions, so that's great. All
I
right,
think
so that's the
also,
first
if-
reading.
Oh, yeah.
If I can add that, I believe they call EMS, some of the facilities when they have mental issues. So that probably needs to be straightened out a little bit.
Okay.
They may be compatible.
So they're calling for ambulance service for mental health.
for help. That may or may not be an emergency. Are we still billing for those calls?
I thought we only billed for transports. Like if we actually go to your house and then we take you to the hospital, that's when we bill you.
We would go to the facility and take them to the hospital.
If it's an emergency, yes.
We're still
But-
billing for that.
Yeah, we bill them for that, but
But the
Like if-
non-emergency, you're thinking we don't bill for that?
no, it says, so under the definitions, it says, shall mean patient transport conducted by the Fairfield Township Fire Department for patients who require only supportive oversight or assistance while in transit, yet do not necessitate urgent, invasive, or emergency medical treatment during transport. Although not exhaustive, non-emergency ambulance transports include transport for the following reasons: observation or evaluation of patient conditions that are not immediately life-threatening, assessment or follow-up on laboratory findings, lab draws or other diagnostic procedures, evaluation of injuries or symptoms that have been present for more than 8 hours without any altercation in the patient's level of consciousness or evidence of critical vital sign changes, generalized weakness lasting longer than 24 hours with acute distress or emergency medical indicators. Non-emergency transports are further characterized by the absence of critical life-saving interventions, including but not limited to IV cannulation, the administration of emergency medications, the provision of oxygen therapy beyond what is routinely prescribed to a patient, or any other advanced life support procedures.
Larry, do you have any legal concerns with this?
I don't have a real legal concern, but those are pretty squishy definitions. In my opinion, that would be very hard to try to distinguish. I think it's clear if a nursing home calls and says, we've got somebody who needs to have some tests at the hospital, will you take them? That seems to me something that nursing homes should be doing. But if they say, well, they haven't gotten any worse in the last 8 hours, so we're going to say that's not an emergency, how do we know? There's a lot in there that if somebody wanted to quibble with us or sue us over it, I think that we would have a hard time defending some of those things. I think others would be easy to defend. So if we want, I understand this isn't really a legal question, but if it's going to be $10,000 a year, I don't know that it's worth the legal, cost that it's going to be to fight these things. If it's a lot of money, then it might be something to look at a little differently. Those definitions, when I was listening to them, some of those things sounded like they could be emergencies to me.
Squishy, is that a legal term?
In the Born Identity, he said the brakes on this car are squishy, and ever since he said that, I like that
You just like to
term.
interject it in your legal.
Thank you, Roger Ebert.
So
Okay.
I would actually be interested in maybe putting some heads together to kind of see about maybe streamlining those, if you want to work with fire and with the administrator to maybe clarify that a little bit more. And also in conjunction with maybe looking at some actual situations where those things might have happened.
Okay, I think the original intent of this is to maybe have conversations with the nursing homes and like make it very clear. hey, you know,
Only call us for emergencies.
right.
Yeah,
You
when
know,
they
we're not
call-
a transport service, we're an emergency medical team, and, you know, we need to be able to transport people to the hospital if they need to be there.
Right, when they
I think
call
that's
and
the
make an
intent.
appointment for you to pick them up, that's not a good
Exactly.
sign.
Right.
And I will say, this is just an added aside, it's not exactly a legal question, but from my experience with other townships, it's a lot of times more of a problem with people calling to say, so-and-so fell out of bed, will you help us put him back into bed?
Very true.
And a lot of people, you know, people will do that at their homes and at nursing homes, and that's really not what our,
Right.
you know, EMS people are supposed to be doing. But,
Right.
and I know that trustees were kind of honing in on that, I think, as an issue too.
Yeah.
I think that's a conversation we need to have as well. What is it, what services, I mean, and I'm all for if there's an emergency, we're here to help. But maybe some of those things are not necessarily what we should be doing with our time, especially in light of the fact of our numbers and our staffing and all of those things.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so that's just, we'll keep it as a first read. May I have the next resolution, please?
Resolution number 26-63 is a resolution authorizing the administrator to enter into an agreement with Security Fence Group, Inc. to repair the guardrail along Canal Road at a cost not to exceed $16,146. So what is happening is, I've included some pictures in the packet, but basically, right around Headgates Road going west.
East.
Oh, it's east? Sorry, I got my directions wrong. Canal going east. There, the bank is slipping. And so we currently have wood posts that are in the ground to hold up that guardrail. And the wood posts only go in the ground about 12 inches. So the ground is kind of shifting it. So what we would like to do is take the wood posts out and replace them with steel beams or whatever, and put them in the steel post and put them in the ground. And I think they go in, they're 8-foot posts, and they go in the ground, 6 feet?
Yeah.
And then we would only replace the necessary sections of guardrail that are the worst. So, and there was only one company that you could find that,
Yeah, well, security
I could do
fence
this.
is I reached out to the county and they recommended security fence, and once doing some research, there's only 2 companies that are owned by security fence. One's out of Cincinnati and the other's out of Dayton. And met with a guy out there. There's a total of 1,122 feet of guardrail. Thank gosh we don't need to replace all of that. But their suggestions were, as what Kim mentioned, the areas where the bank is deteriorated, driving the 8-foot I-beam steel post into the ground and attaching new guardrail. And then some of the guardrail posts that are rotted, they'll replace those. We did go out, it's been probably 5-6 years ago, and put in some new posts and stuff in different areas. Those areas have held up, but there's not a whole lot we can do where the banks are eroding away. That's down there by where the floodgates are.
Motion to adopt.
Second. Any other questions or comments?
We're going to pay for this out of,
Gas tax.
gas tax.
Okay, Ms. LaPensi, can we have the roll call, please?
Trustee McAbey?
yes?
Trustee Birding?
Yes.
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
That resolution is adopted. May we have the next resolution, please?
Resolution 26-64 is a resolution approving change order number 2 for the curb and gutter repairs from Atleta Construction Company in the amount not to exceed $1,949.29. So I know we already did change order number 1, and they took out more curb and gutter than we had anticipated, which cost us additional $14,000, I think. So this, they had to also replace some ADA ramps and additional curbs. So they actually exceeded our cap that we had set at the last meeting by this $1,949.29.
Motion to adopt.
Second?
Has the work been done?
Yes.
It's completed.
It's completed and ready for paving.
Yeah.
Okay, Ms. LaPensi, will you call the roll, please?
Trustee McAbey?
Yes?
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
Trustee Birding?
Yes, and that resolution is adopted. Committee reports. TID, trustee McAbey?
I have no report.
Okay. Trustee Harkemaier, EMA, OKI, or Clout?
Nothing to report?
Okay, we'll move on to board member comments. Trustee McAbey?
Just wanted to thank the administrator for all the hard work in the budget and just combination of all the things from the personnel policy book, all of that. Really appreciate her hard work on that.
Trustee Harkemaier?
Can we take a quick look at the calendar? Just make sure that there's, see if there's anything we need to add for June or July? Anything that we did this month that we need to put on that permanent calendar?
See, we'll have to do the budget. Oh, have we heard anything about the salt contract? Because we have that in our thing.
I haven't heard nothing.
Me either. Or anything. Short-term, like the short-term disability, that's, like, we're on a 3-year rate guarantee, so we won't have to do that until next year, I believe.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything on August since we're here? Does August look pretty good too?
Yes, I think natural gas we already took care of. Strategic solutions, ammunition.
Okay, I just wanted to bring that up so that we can stay on track with that.
Okay.
Anything else? First, I'd like to acknowledge that Katie Broswell, who's the president, I believe president of the Hamilton Community Foundation, is retiring Friday. And she's been instrumental in helping us get our pickleball courts, the money raised, and she sort of helped spearhead the conversation. So I'm grateful for her, and I just want to acknowledge that she'll be retiring. Second comment,
Do we want to do a proclamation for her?
yeah, I think that would be appropriate. Maybe we could do that Friday, because Friday evening is her retirement party, and maybe we could present that.
Yeah.
Okay. In our June meeting, I had some conversations with our police chief. Some things at the June meeting that I said about our police department came out wrong. And,
I'm sorry, but this is our June meeting, right?
I'm sorry, in the May meeting, thank you, in our May meeting. And when I went back, and I had a conversation with the chief, and I went back and read the minutes, I saw where some things that I said could and did create some bad feelings amongst our police staff. And I'm very sorry that those words were taken that way. That was not my intent. I fully support our police department. I think they do an amazing job with less. Like, you know, they're doing so much good work in our community. And I am very sorry. That was not my intent. I hope you realize, I hope the police department realizes I fully support them, as do the rest of the trustees. And I hope they'll forgive me for those comments, because that was not my intent. And if they feel like they want to reach out to me and have more conversations, I'd be happy to have that. So, Chief, if you wouldn't mind expressing that, again, I do apologize for some things that I said. I got in trouble after I received an award a couple years ago, and some things I said, I got in trouble at home for some of the things I said that didn't go over really well. So sometimes I say things because I'm so passionate about it and the words come out wrong. Again, and I do apologize to our police department and look forward to moving forward. Thank you. Okay, so announcements. We have a public hearing number 2 to add the $5 license plate fees is for Friday, June 26th at 9 a.m. right here at the Township Administration Building. 4th of July holiday is observed on Friday, July 3rd, 2026, and our township offices will be closed. And our next regular trustee meeting is Tuesday, July 14th at 7 p.m. here at the Administration Building. At this time, it's necessary to move into executive session, so I move into executive session pursuant to ORC 121.22G1 to consider the discipline, appointment, employment, and compensation of a public employee or official. Is there a second?
Second?
Any questions or comments? I do not anticipate action to follow. May we have the roll, please?
Trustee Burden?
Yes?
Trustee Harkemaier?
Yes.
Trustee McAbey?
Yes.
And that motion is adopted, and we will go into executive session at 9:15 PM. Thank you.
These are all the signed ones.
See you in the morning, man.
Okay. Okay. Hi, Sue. Which one? My budget or the motor vehicle license? Both. Got it.
We still broadcasting?
Oh, I had two separate, but yeah.
It looked like one.
Okay. I'll email them to you.
That's the same one that was on in May.
Yeah, so it's 2.99 mils.
So those numbers are the same as to how much it's raised.
Yeah,
how much it would cost.
let me send you a thing on it just to make sure it's, because I think before we had